Titans fans, the NFL draft is finally here, and I'm breaking down everything you need to know heading into the first round. What prospects should the Titans be targeting? What trade up options do they have? What trade down options do they have? I'm breaking it all down for you on an NFL draft preview edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. Titans fans, Christmas Day is finally here. The NFL draft's first round kicks off tonight, and I'm doing a full draft preview talking about the Tennessee Titans targets in the first round, trade up and trade down options as well. We're going to get into all of it. Before we do, want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by the Ultimate Football GM app. Have you ever dreamed of becoming an NFL general manager, going through the draft yourself, managing a football franchise? Then this game is definitely for you. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com or just look it up in the App Store. Our listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when you use the promo code Locked On in all caps in the Ultimate Football GM game store. Titans fans, thank you so much for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content on all platforms all year long and always for free. Make sure that you get subscribed and stay subscribed to the Locked On Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Want to welcome in any new listeners to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland, nearly 25 years as a Tennessee Titans fanatic, a staff writer at alltitans.com for Sports Illustrated, and of course, a certified film junkie breaking down the X's and O's with you guys all year long. Got to give an even bigger shout out to my everydayers listening to the show Monday through Friday, always with us here on the Locked On Titans podcast. Let me know down in the comments. Let me know on Twitter at TicTacTitans if you are an everydayer with the Locked On Titans podcast. Do want to remind you before we get into the preview, I'm going to have live reaction videos immediately after the Tennessee Titans select. I'm going to do a live show Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night, breaking down all of the action as well. So make sure, again, that you get subscribed, stay subscribed to the Locked On Titans podcast, and follow me on Twitter at TicTacTitans so that you have all of my instant reactions as well. But moving right along here into the draft preview, in my mind, there are 14 prospects, but 15 total outcomes that I think are acceptable for the Tennessee Titans. So let's go position by position. If the Tennessee Titans leave the first round with CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, which doesn't seem likely, but you never know, Anthony Richardson, or even Will Levis, I will accept the pick. I will be okay. I want CJ Stroud. I would be perfectly fine with Richardson. I'm a little nervous about Will Levis, but if the Titans believe in Will Levis, the scheme that he ran in college does translate pretty well to what they want to do at the NFL level. So I'll at least give it a chance. But I got to tell you, that would be my least favorable outcome of all of the outcomes that we're going to break down here. Those are the quarterbacks that I could understand. Wide receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba from Ohio State. He is the only wide receiver that I would be okay with leaving the first round and saying, you got a wide receiver, here's the guy. Especially if they stick and pick at 11, it's Jackson Smith-Njigba or bust. Offensive line, where I truly want the Titans to go. Paris Johnson Jr., Peter Skoronski, or Broderick Jones. Now, Jones, I wouldn't be as happy about. He's like the Will Levis of offensive linemen for me. But if they left with Skoronski or Paris Johnson, that's a slam dunk win for the Titans there. on defense at edge rusher. Lucas Van Ness, Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson. If they get any of those guys, I'll be completely on board. And then at cornerback, Devon Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez, Joey Porter Jr. Now, Joey Porter Jr. is like the Broderick Jones of the cornerback group. I would be a little nervous that they reached for Joey Porter Jr., but I feel comfortable that he's going to be a very good NFL player at the next level. So those are my 14 players: Stroud, Young, Richardson, and Levis, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Paris Johnson, Peter Skoronski, Broderick Jones, Lucas Van Ness, Tyree Wilson, Will Anderson, Devon Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez, and Joey Porter Jr. If the Titans do not leave Thursday night with one of those 14 players, I'm going to be incredibly disappointed. I have said all along, guys, I don't want the Titans to trade back in the first round. Just on Monday, Rand Carthon did a press conference and said, picking this high, the Titans don't expect to pick this high again. They need to get a blue player, which is another term for a blue chip player. Get one of the blue chip players, and I think one of those 14 guys right there have the potential to at least be one in the NFL. Now, the 15th outcome here, there is a 15th outcome that would satisfy me even if the Titans don't get one of these 14 players that I just mentioned. That would be as if the Titans trade down but get a first-round pick in next year's draft. All of the trade-down packages that I think are realistic for the Titans do not include a first-round pick next year. The player that the team would be coming up for wouldn't be worth it. So, despite my reservations and my lack of belief that that could happen, if the Titans trade down in the first round and collect a first-round pick next year, now I'm on board because my primary focus is getting one of those quarterbacks in next year's draft if they can't get one now. I want C.J. Stroud. I would accept Anthony Richardson. But if the Titans don't like any of those guys, then fine. And you want to trade down, then fine. Just make sure that you get a first-round pick next year so you have more ammunition to go up and get a quarterback you do love, which hopefully is in next year's draft class, because the Titans are going to need a new quarterback sooner or later. So those 14 players, Stroud, Young, Richardson, Levis, Smith and Jigba, Johnson Jr., Skoronski, Broderick Jones, Lucas Van Ness, Tyree Wilson, Will Anderson, Devon Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez, or Joey Porter Jr., one of those 14 guys, or come out of Thursday night with a first-round pick in 2024 so you can go up and get your quarterback of choice next year. Those are 15 outcomes that I would be okay with leaving Thursday night. But now we need to talk about some potential trade options for the Titans. I'm going to talk about some teams that could be trade-up destinations for the Titans to start and what the trade packages could look like. Then at the end of the show, we'll transition into trade down options for the Titans, places they could trade down to, and what those packages could look like as well. Before we get into all of that, though, do want to let you guys know that today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast is brought to you by the Ultimate Pro Football GM app. Guys, it's draft season. If you want to be a general manager that runs your football franchise, does your draft, makes every pick, hire and fire coaches, set your base formation, set your play style on offense, go through the regular season and try to win the championship. If you want to do all of that, you can do it on the Ultimate Pro Football GM app. And the best thing is, you can start a league with all your friends so you compete against each other, little good-natured trash talk. It's a great way to pass time until the NFL season comes back around. And by then, you'll love the game so much that you'll be playing it all the time. It's challenging. It's realistic. It's free to play. You can play offline, on the go, as you want, wherever you want. Check out the Ultimate Pro Football GM app. And right now, Locked On Titans listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise. All you got to do is put in promo code Locked On inside the game store in the Ultimate Football GM app. To download the game, just go to ultimate-gm.com or do the easy thing. Look it up in the App Store on your phone. It's ultimate-gm.com, the ultimate football GM app. Start your dynasty today. Titans fans, let's continue today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. It is our first round NFL draft preview. I just talked about the 14 players and the one situation, we'll call it, that I would be okay with for the Titans on the first night. But now I want to talk about some potential moves that the Titans could make, some trade up options that they'll have in this draft and what those trade packages could look like. Before we get into that, do want to thank you guys again for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen every day. Remember, I'll have a live show on Thursday night breaking down all the action. I'll have instant reaction videos out on social media on the YouTube channel after every single pick, not only on Thursday night, but all weekend long. A day 2 recap show live on YouTube, instant reaction videos to all of the picks on day 2. Same thing on day 3. Sunday will be a full recap of all the action. I'm going to be writing articles on alltitans.com for Sports Illustrated. Check those out. Follow me on Twitter at TicTacTitans for my draft reactions on Twitter as well. I mean, my God, so much content coming your way and for free. Don't want to miss out on any of it. Speaking of free content, if you're tired of the standard NFL draft shows that are available all the time, then check out the Locked On NFL Draft live show. It's going to be with the Locked On NFL scouting guys, Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino. A bunch of Locked On hosts like me are going to be joining in, giving reaction as well. It's going to be live on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on the Locked On NFL Scouting YouTube page. It's going to start on Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern. Make sure that you guys check that out. But trade packages for the Titans if they want to move up. Number one, we got to talk about the obvious one, and it's the Arizona Cardinals. So if the Titans want to move up to number 3, all we're hearing is that the Texans are going to take a defensive player at number 2. So that means Bryce Young at number 1, a defensive player like Tyree Wilson or Will Anderson at pick number 2. That means that you can have your choice of any of the quarterbacks at pick number 3 if you trade up with Arizona. A lot of people expect somebody to make that move. It'll be interesting to see if Arizona is able to get a good enough deal, but the Titans could be the team to do that. And if the Titans do make that move up the board, my expectation is it'll be number 11, pick 72, which is a third rounder, the 2024 first round pick for the Titans, and then a 2024 second round pick. I don't think that the Cardinals are desperate to move out of that pick. They desperately need more selections to build up that roster and kind of restart things now that they have Monty Ossenfort as their GM. So I think in that desperation that Arizona feels, I don't think that they're going to be able to get the type of trade package that the San Francisco 49ers got for the third pick when Trey Lance was out. I just don't think they're going to get a package that good because of their desperation to move out. So to me, number 11, the Titans' third round pick, number 72, a first round pick and a second round pick next year, that gets the job done rather than having 2 first round picks after this year in 2024 and 2025 in the deal. I don't think the Titans will need to do that. So if you keep a lot of your picks in 2024, give up no picks in 2025, you move up to number 3 and secure your quarterback of the future, which gives you the flexibility to cut Ryan Tannehill or trade Ryan Tannehill and save money on the salary cap, you absolutely have to do that. So Arizona is an option, and if CJ Stroud is there, I am fully on board for the Titans to make that move up and go get him. If they do it for Anthony Richardson, I'll be a little nervous. If they do it for Will Levis, I'll be disgusted. So that's where I feel there. A cheaper move for the Titans that could realistically be available is a move up to number 6 with the Detroit Lions. So if we see Bryce Young go number 1, then we see the Texans take one of those edge guys. And then the Cardinals can't get a trade, so they take the other edge guy. We're going to have Indianapolis at number 4 All I've heard is that Indianapolis likes Anthony Richardson. And when you have Shane Steichen, who came over from having Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia, it would make sense that he went with that guy with incredible mobility that can run a similar offense to what Jalen Hurts did in Philadelphia. So you get Anthony Richardson there. Then Seattle is at number 5. I think they'll take Jalen Carter. I really think they do. They will take what a lot of people consider as the most talented player in the entire draft. So I could absolutely see Seattle doing that, taking Jalen Carter at number 5. Then you get to pick 6. It's Detroit. Yeah, they would love a cornerback. Maybe they would like to take an edge rusher, but with the way the quarterbacks are coming off the board, you could probably slide down and still get one of those. And that's what I think Detroit would do. So the Titans could move up to number 6, which is important because you need to get in front of Las Vegas and you need to get in front of Atlanta, who could potentially want a quarterback. So if the Titans went from 11 to 6, they could still get their quarterback of the future. And then they would have to give up less than what they gave up to Arizona. And I think less would simply be saving them a second-round pick. So I think the Titans would still give up number 11. They would give up number 72, and they would give up next year's first-round pick to go from 11 to 6. But they wouldn't have to give up the second-round pick in 2024 as well, which is something that I included in the Arizona deal. So I think a move from 11 to 6 could make a ton of sense. And, I mean, even at that point, the Titans might be able to not include their first-round pick next year and just include some mid-round picks for next year. It could be 11, 72, a 2024 second, and a 2024 fourth. That might be something that gets the job done to make that move. So Detroit is an option for the Titans, I do believe. And then finally, Philadelphia, sitting at pick number 10. I think the Titans could offer 11 and 72, make a one-spot jump. Now, why would the Titans jump one spot when Philadelphia doesn't need a quarterback? Because the only way I could see the Titans making a trade up is to get a quarterback. There's no reason to do it for a position player in this draft. So if the Titans moved up one spot, why would they do that? Well, Philadelphia at that point, if there's a quarterback still available there, like a Richardson or a CJ Stroud, Philadelphia might auction off that pick to somebody else who wants to come up, whether it be Washington at 16, whether it be Tampa Bay at 19, whether it be Minnesota at 23. So rather than losing out on the bidding war, the Titans could just pay a quick 72, jump up one spot, get their quarterback of the future, and feel good about what happened, still have their second-round pick, still have some other picks to play with, and not sacrifice any future capital in drafts in the next few years. So those are all options to me if the Titans want to trade up. Arizona at 3, Detroit at 6, and Philadelphia at 10. But with that being said, we're going to move forward here and talk about some trade down options for the Titans, because I know a lot of you guys are interested in a move down the board to pick up more picks as well. Before we get into that, though, do want to tell you guys about the best tasting protein bars in the galaxy from our friends over at Built Bar. You get the best of both worlds with Built Bar. You get all the health benefits that you want from a protein bar. They're low calorie, low sugar, high protein, high fiber, but you get all the taste benefits of a candy bar because all the bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right. Protein bars covered in 100% real chocolate. And they have some delicious flavors available. The peanut butter brownie, the churro, the white chocolate cheesecake. Oh my, absolutely one of my favorites. And there are even more delicious flavors available to you. You can go on built.com and check out all the variety that they have, or you can go to your local Walmart or your local Sam's Club and check out what they got right there as well. It's going to be in the pharmacy section of Walmart and Sam's Club. Check out the best tasting protein bars ever. Built Bars at built.com. Titans fans, we are going to cap off today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. It is the 2023 first round NFL draft preview. We talked about the prospects or the situations that I would be okay with going through on Thursday night with the Titans. Talked about some trade up options and what those packages could look like for the Titans. Now we got to talk about the trade down options for the Titans. And before we get into that, I do want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Titans, your first listen every day. Shout out to all the people who are new to the show, but of course, shout out to all my everydayers. Drop your comments down below. Let folks know that you are an everydayer here on the Locked On Titans podcast. Gonna have some incredible content coming your way. Instant reaction videos to every pick. Full recaps every night of what took place live on the YouTube channel. They'll be uploaded as podcasts on your favorite podcast platform the next day or immediately after I'm done doing them. A full week of shows next week, breaking down all the prospects and where the Titans stand. I mean, so much coming your way for free. Make sure you get subscribed. Stay subscribed to the Locked On Titans podcast, where it's your team every day. But looking at trade down options for the Titans, I think the number one that comes up is the New York Jets at number 15. I think dropping down 4 spots could make a lot of sense for the Titans. The Jets also have pick number 43. So I think if the Titans got 15 and 43, that they would be willing to move down. I think picking up an extra second-round pick would be very helpful. Moving down only 4 spots isn't terrible. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to do it, but maybe the Titans would be interested. Another team that makes sense that actually comes up before the Jets, now that they flop picks, is the Green Bay Packers at number 13. They could look to come up, get Jackson Smith-Njigba, look for an offensive lineman. If the Titans aren't sold on any of them, then that could make sense. Green Bay has pick 42 and pick 45 right now because of the trade with the Jets. So if Green Bay offered 13 and 45 for pick number 11, that may be something that would make sense for the Titans to do. Another team that we got rumors about actually being interested in jumping up to number 11 is the Pittsburgh Steelers at pick number 17. The Steelers have pick number 49. They also have pick 80 and pick 120. I could see 17, 80, and 120 for 11. I could see 17 and 49 for 11 as well. Maybe that would make sense for the Titans, and the Steelers are interested in coming up, getting an offensive lineman. If the Titans aren't sold on any of the offensive linemen that are available and the Steelers want to come up and get one, then maybe that's something they do. Again, I would absolutely hate that move for the Titans. I would much rather take the offensive lineman that the Steelers want at pick 11. That would make a lot more sense to me than trading back. But hey, maybe it is something the Titans would do, and whether I want them to do it or not, it is a possibility. So I bring that information to you guys. Another option for the Titans would be number 19, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If a quarterback drops, the Titans don't like the quarterback, Tampa Bay could come up and do that. They need offensive line as well, so they could make a move there. If the Titans drop back all the way to 19, I'm going to need a 2024 first-round pick, period. The Bears went from 20 to 11 to get Justin Fields, and they got a first-round pick in the next draft. So that's not a question to me. If the Titans go past 17, I want a first-round pick next year, or I'm not going to be okay with it at all. Same thing. Minnesota at 23, they may want to come up for a quarterback. I'm going to need your 2024 first-round pick along with 23. So the Titans go back from 11 to 23, get a first-round pick in next year's draft, and then I want either 87 or 119 in this year's draft. I want a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick in this year's draft added on top of it to go back 12 picks into the mid-20s. Like, now we're talking about a much worse prospect than you can get at 11. Again, guys, I'm going to continue. I've been consistent throughout the offseason. I don't want to do a trade back. The Titans, in theory, if you're optimistic, which is something Rand Carthon talked about, don't expect to be picking this high again. Remember, I know that everyone's down on the Titans. I get it, but the Titans were 7-3, and you could say that the schedule was bad, but the Titans are going to get a second-place schedule this year, which is going to be worse than the type of teams they played last year. So the Titans, without record-setting injuries, are probably going to pick higher in the draft, not higher in terms of a lower pick, but higher in terms of further away from where they are now, next year. So It's not like you're going to have a chance to pick a blue chip player in next year's draft unless you get a first round pick additionally so that you can trade up for one next year. So if the Titans don't get a first round pick next year and they trade down, I'm not going to give it an A+. I can guarantee you that. So those are the kind of packages that they'd be looking at, whether it's trade up or trade down. Those are the 14 prospects that I am okay with the Titans selecting. Stroud, Young, Richardson, Levis, Smith and Jigba, Paris Johnson, Skoronski, Broderick Jones, Van Ness, Tyree Wilson, Will Anderson, Witherspoon, Gonzalez, Porter Jr. Those are my 14 guys. I want the Titans to get one of those guys before they leave, or get a first-round pick in next year's draft so that you can get Drake May or Caleb Williams, a quarterback. So that is a draft preview for the first round. I'm going to be putting out an instant reaction video to the pick as soon as the Titans make it. I'm going to have articles out on alltitans.com for Sports Illustrated all night. I'm going to have a full first round recap as we get into the back half of the first round. Just want to make sure that the Titans don't jump back into the first round and I miss it or something like that. So going to wait a little while, see what happens. It's here though, folks. The draft is here. I'm so excited. Can't wait to go through all of it with you guys. Make sure that you get subscribed. Stay subscribed to the Locked On Titans podcast for year-round Tennessee Titans content every single day, always for free. That's going to do it for me today, though, folks. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.